With the trade deadline being just under 2 months away, here are some potential blockbuster trades that we could see coming up. The first deal we're going to be looking at today sends Anthony Davis to the Minnesota Timberwolves in exchange for Rudy Gobert, Jaden McDaniels, Rob Dillingham, and 4 second-round picks. Although it makes sense for the Dallas Mavericks to receive first-round pick-type compensation, the Minnesota Timberwolves currently have no tradable first-round picks. This deal would get the Dallas Mavericks under the second apron and into the first apron, as well as allow them to get 2 young pieces, as well as 2 very impactful winning defenders. For the Timberwolves, this would keep them within the first apron, as well as giving them a versatile big man who is able to stretch the floor and create more space for Anthony Edwards. For the Minnesota Timberwolves, the lineup would look something like this. Anthony Davis and Julius Randle in the front court, which provides all-star level talent up there, as well as Davis creating a secondary star for Anthony Edwards, which he is yet to play with throughout his career. For the Dallas Mavericks, they acquire a much-needed point guard in Rob Dillingham, who has yet to see substantial minutes and could find a home here in Dallas to help this young team grow and fill the role of D'Angelo Russell, which he was unable to live up to the expectations created to him by the team. This team becomes extremely young, just with the old contract of Klay Thompson and Rudy Gobert still there. For the Dallas Mavericks, they added a much-needed point guard, as D'Angelo Russell was unable to fulfill his expectations for the start of the season. Rob Dillingham creates a fresh start here in Dallas and grows alongside Cooper Flagg and Jaden McDaniels, 2 younger pieces. This also allows Dallas to create their defensive identity with Gobert and McDaniels still there, while also leaning into the future. This deal should also be accompanied by another one for the Dallas Mavericks, as their overabundance of centers is clear here. However, with Derek Lively out for the season, you could see Gobert and Gafford share those center duties. Overall, this helps the Dallas Mavericks create a youth timeline and creates their defensive identity post the Nico Harrison era. For the Minnesota Timberwolves, this gives Anthony Edwards a secondary All-NBA star to help exceed their limits. This next trade helps the Golden State Warriors finally get the center they need around Steph Curry, as well as getting rid of some younger talent who could blossom in a different environment. It has been reported that the Sacramento Kings are looking to move on from Russell Westbrook, Zach LaVine, and DeMar DeRozan, and I believe that they should also do so with Domantas Sabonis and hit a fresh restart. This deal allows the Kings to get some youth in Jonathan Kuminga, who started the season incredibly well as Brandon Podziemski, who's finally seen a jump in Golden State. Although Kuminga has stacked up multiple not played due to coaches' decisions, I believe that this trade allows the Kings to hit a reset button, and Draymond Green is the perfect player to send over with them to help them develop and help the Kings set an identity in a time where it's hard to create a culture due to multiple changes. This trade allows Golden State to finally go in and have one last championship run with a playmaking center who allows Steph Curry to get open. This will be what the lineup looks for the Golden State Warriors. As always, Curry needs to have multiple shooters around him, with Hield, Melton being able to stretch the floor, as well as a second star with Jimmy Butler and Domantas Sabonis creating some more gravity, which means it's impossible to guard all 3 of them. They still have this while still having some young, hungry pieces off the bench. Pat Spencer has proven that he is a hungry player, as well as Moses Moody, Guy Santos, and Will Richard are all players who can give you 100% effort. As mentioned previously, the Sacramento Kings are looking to move off a lot of these players. However, this is how the lineup looks for the time being. With some of the other departures, this allows Renard and Clifford to get some much needed PT, as well as giving guys like Kuminga and Podziemski a chance to grow in Sacramento. This trade looks to give the Golden State Warriors one last chance at a championship run before Curry retires, and gives the Sacramento Kings the start of a much needed reset. This blockbuster trade sees Giannis going to a young and contending team in the East, while the Milwaukee Bucks get a struggling Trae Young that didn't quite fit with the Atlanta Hawks system at the moment, as well as young Zachary Russo-Share and 2 first-round picks. This allows the Atlanta Hawks to take advantage of a weaker East this year and try push for title contention, as well as Giannis. This is exactly what he wanted in a wide-open East. He is able to compete. And for the Milwaukee Bucks, they chance to hit a bit of a reset with 2 additional first-round picks, a young first overall pick, and Trae Young, who is still young and has plenty to offer to his team. This is what the lineup will look like for the Atlanta Hawks. Dyson Daniels has done an amazing job stepping into the role of Trae Young since he's been injured and can continue to do so with this trade. This gives Giannis multiple other young wing defenders around him so that he can focus on more interior defense and give Porzingis an avenue to just focus purely on his offensive game. This still allows Atlanta to be incredibly young and still has some progression within this team and doesn't cap them just to the next couple of seasons. This would officially mean the Milwaukee Bucks are going into a rebuild. With a former first overall pick and Trae Young at point guard, they're still incredibly young and have these 2 future assets as well to build around and taking a real step back this year. Overall, this changes the 2 teams' timelines, with the Atlanta Hawks being sped up a bit, but doesn't fully damage them to the years to come after this championship window. However, Milwaukee are taking a real step back and going into a bit of a rebuild here. This trade gives Houston a much needed point guard with LaMelo Ball. As shown earlier in the season, Reed Shepherd wasn't up to the standard that they needed to compete with Kevin Durant in his timeline. The Charlotte Hornets also get 2 younger pieces to build for the future, as well as another first-round pick. This also allows Houston to send out 2 bigger contracts in exchange for some expiring contracts and 2 younger pieces as well. This trade for Houston does completely gut their depth, but creates an elite starting lineup which can help them dramatically in a really strong Western Conference playoffs. For years on end, the Charlotte Hornets have tried to figure out what's happening with their team. With Con Knippel in this past draft, it has been clear that he is more of the cornerstone compared to LaMelo Ball. With him, Brandon Miller, Reed Shepherd, and Jabari Smith, they're hitting a much more youth movement while still getting the experience from Steven Adams to help Kalkbrenner expand his game. Let me know your ideas with some potential trades for this upcoming trade deadline.